Hello, Sharifa. Welcome back.
It's good to be here again.
Yes, and now we're getting ready to sort of complete our journey of the senses, at least for now, this introduction that we've had thanks to you. And we're going to be talking about the sense of balance. So please share with us what you understand about it and what we as parents can do to support our children's sense of balance.
Great, great. So the sense of balance, another word for it, or a more uh, current word maybe, is the vestibular sense. Um, this has to do with the place where the sense of balance emanates is from the inner ear. Um, the inner ear, the sense of hearing and the sense of balance are in the cochlear spirals. They are side by side. They're very, very woven together. And that's why I said movement does, it scaffolds for language. And it's too much for us to go into how that happens, but just to have this sense of movement and hearing and language and balance. We're taking the senses apart right now so that we can look at them individually, but in fact, they all work they're like a symphony. They all work together and the melodies go together, and we can really see that at the intersection of these senses. So the sense of balance is the foundation of all sensory integration. Maybe I've said that for each one of these, but it's because they're all so woven together. And physical balance is the foundation of inner balance. Physical balance then grows into a sense of self balance, a sense of the self as balanced in the world. Balance is accomplished only through movement. So movement and balance are totally intertwined. Um, and balance actually begins in arms. When the baby is in utero, the baby is just swimming, in the amniotic waters. And then in arms, um, when we, whenever, if we have the baby in, a sling or in a little baby carrier, as we move, as we bend down to pick up something, as we move to put it away, as we go to the sink, as we're washing the dishes, as we're sweeping the floor, all of this movement, our movement, is laying a foundation of balance in the child. And again, just for us to always look, as we look at how the senses develop in the child, let's look at our own senses. And so, what is our sense of balance, and what is the movement that we're offering our babies when they're in the slinger, when they're in the baby carrier? Um, so the best way that we can support the sense of balance, I'm going to say this and it sounds funny, but singing to our babies. And it's because the vestibular system, the balance system, is woven together with the sound, with the hearing system. And so when we sing, and we sing these lullabies, and lullabies are ancient and they're all over the world. And that kind of rhythmic movement of the lullaby, this sets the vestibular system. It engages the vestibular system, and and sound, of course, is movement. Sound is movement, and when we sing to the baby, The sound vibrations go in, they're in the ear, they're in this vestibular system. And because it's melodic and because it's harmonic, then all it sets all of the baby's body systems into into balance, into balance. And so it's just so miraculous to me the way that the hearing and the balance is so connected. So we sing to the baby. The baby synchronizes. There's research that shows that when we sing to our babies, that their movements, they synchronize their movements to the melody. And actually that happens in utero too, that particular sounds create particular movements for the child. And singing, because it is harmonic, again brings that calming movement for the child. um,
That's amazing.
I know it's so
That's amazing.
astonishing.
And
um,
again, just to highlight the fact that I think it's a mother's instinct to do that. You know, we sing to soothe. Like nobody had to teach mothers this. It just that's what we did long ago, and that's what we still do. And I guess I'll just put a plug in for it. It doesn't matter what you're singing, just that it's coming from your heart. I really believe that. I mean, of course it matters and it doesn't matter, right? It's coming from our heart and it's our voice, and our babies don't care if we're not perfect singers. They don't.
they don't know.
They don't know. It's we're perfect to them.
We are perfect, absolutely.
Until teenage years.
Yes, yes. But we have to keep reminding ourselves that we're still perfect.
Right. Perfectly imperfect.
Right. Right. So I can't say enough about continuing to sing to the babies, sing to our toddlers, sing, throughout the day. And because sound is movement, it will bring balance. It will bring balance to them. Self-initiated movement, this is another thing that brings balance. It's interest. The child has the interest and wants to move toward it. And that brings an inner kind of balance, because the child is following, something inside of them is calling them to explore a particular experience. And because they're following that, there's this sense of inner balance that they have. Um, I think that also throughout uh, throughout all of childhood, that there's a piece that we need to sort of keep in mind for self-initiated movement and its relationship to balance, and this sense of inner balance that the child has when they're moving toward what they're interested in life. In preschool and in kindergarten, one of the really beautiful just elements of a Waldorf early childhood experience is the singing games. The movement games and the singing games, the circle time games, they're, it's 15 minutes, it's 20 minutes of bliss for the children, because of the rhythm, because of the movement, because of the balance, because of the social interaction, because it's the body moving through space, it's the body in relationship to other bodies. All of this is so primary for the child's sense of balance and the child's sense of their, like the balance of the self. It is created through song and movement together. And then play is another way that we support this sense of balance, that if the child is allowed to really follow their inclinations, their movement inclinations, their imaginations, as they play, whether they're playing outdoors, where there's all the rhythmic movement of, the swing and the seesaw and, the sandbox and the buckets, and also indoors. At home, if we can let go of the beautiful setting of our living room and let them take, the cushions off and move the dining chairs around and get, the clothespins and make little houses. All of this is self-initiated movement, and all of that movement just fortifies and makes resilient and makes creative, like the creativity that goes into the kind of movement that imaginative play calls for. All of that kind of creative movement, that is laying the foundation for balance. And again, if the child has this opportunity to follow their inclination, their ideas for movement, um, they have this sense of I can do, and they have this sense of balance within themselves. One of the ways that they learn balance is by imbalance. If we, I mean, they're gonna, if they're building something with the kitchen chairs and it's not exactly right, it's going to fall, and that's okay. If the chairs aren't too heavy, you don't want them to get crushed. You know what I'm saying? It's like they learn balance by imbalance. If they're doing some wonderful activity outside and they get imbalanced, they're going to fall down. They're going to fall, on the ground. Let's just make sure that the playground is nice and, has plenty of hay or grass or whatever the soft surface is. So this following their movement, and singing games, and this sense of I can do it and I know how, and the kind of balance that gives one. It's like I'm okay in the world. Yeah. So
Like I can fall and I can get up and it's okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And our response to the fall is it's exactly like when the baby wants to have the toy that they haven't quite managed to scooch over and get. If we say, "Oh, here, here, here," it's very different than if we say, "You're getting it. You're doing good." And when they fall down, if we rush, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay?" It's very different than if we say, you were really trying hard. That was great. You want to give it another try? Yeah. 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 And sometimes, you have to, pet them a little bit and, put a band-aid on. But the encouragement is that was a great exploration. Keep exploring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really fascinating, and I'm excited to learn more about that sense and explore that with families.
Great.
I
Great.
wonder if, just to close, Sharifa, you might just touch on this idea um, that we broke up we brought out in jest spontaneously a few moments ago about being perfect or imperfect. That sometimes I think we as parents can get information and feel like, oh, I'm doing it all wrong, or I've got so far to go. And I love how you say, just pick one thing. Just pick one thing that works for you and works for your child and celebrate that. And, could you just say a bit more about that? Because I think that's really valuable
Yes.
advice in this world where we just can't possibly meet all the expectations that are around us or that we create for ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. I think that is so true. And in the same way that um, the baby has a blueprint inside, and the baby knows how to grow the way that broccoli has a blueprint, and the way that a tree has a blueprint. We have that blueprint. We also have that blueprint. We are enough. And I would say, as we go about looking for the right partners, the right help, um, I would say to parents, you have a great partner and a great helper in Holly.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
and when your neighbor says, I read this great thing, or I have this great book, or I found this online, um, I would say thank you. And then I would read that with a grain of salt and just like compare it to, or bring it your own sense of what is right inside of yourself. Bring it to Holly
Oh,
also. Yeah, I mean, ask questions, because there are lots of different ways and different approaches that are out there and are available at one click on the internet. And you can get 7 different ideas going, and it will drive you crazy. So if you feel like you have a good partner and a good helper in Holly, then I would just stay there and learn, and bring yourself to it, because what Holly's going to tell you is, you know how to do this. You are enough. You can do this. And that's what we say to our children. You can do this. You know how. You're strong, you're capable. And so that same advice is to ourselves.
thank you, Sharifa.
Thank you. This has been great, and thank you so much for the invitation.
You are so welcome. And thank you for all that you shared. And I look forward to the next time.
That sounds great. Bye bye now.
Okay, bye.